Okay, we're over at Herb's house in Albert Lee. I'll let him introduce himself and tell you a little bit about how he got started as part of the Ham Shack tour here, WD0AKX.
Well, good morning or good afternoon, Larry, whichever it is. My name is Herb Neal. My present call is K0HN. I used to be K0UND, United Nation Director. But when they had the 39, they called them 39-cent calls, everybody had a chance to change their calls. And so I changed it. It only cost 39 cents for a stamp to send it in. So then I changed my call to K0HN. And I've been at this location, well, let's see, let's start out first. I got my license in Northwood, Iowa. And I worked with the chief engineer at KGLO Radio. And now it's channel 6 over there. But he was a technician then at Kensett, Iowa, and they lived in Northwood, and I got acquainted with him. I had an airplane, and he had radios, and I was interested in radio, and he interested in flying. So as a result, we spent a lot of time together, and I picked up. Actually, I really learned power supplies from him, and.
What year was that you got started?
Oh, I think I got my license about in 59, 58, 59 in there someplace. And then after I moved up here, we lived on Gray Street for 40 years. I've been down in this location for 40 years. And we are currently moving. I'm living out at the Village Cooperative right now, east side of Albert Lee. The reason for moving is the fact that my health-wise was I couldn't go up and down steps without getting out of breath. So I suggested my daughters pushed us into moving. They got everything all lined up for us, and now we've moved out there. But everything here is all in a turmoil. I've got to decide what I want to throw away and for what I want to keep. But I've been in radio since '59, and I've collected a lot of I call it good stuff. I used to do a lot of building, just enjoy building. I enjoyed building a bit more than I did talking on the radio. But I've got a homebrew. A pair of 4-400 homebrew amplifier capable of a couple of kWs. If you want to push it that hard, 50 watts would just push the pants right off of it. and I do have an extra tube for it. I'm going to part with that. I haven't used it in years. I do have a 2,000 volt power supply for it. It's a regular power transformer in reverse. I'm using low side for primary, and secondary is 2,000 volts or somewhere in that category anyway. And but we've got it available too. We haven't really. Well, how should I say it? We've got everything piled up in the garage here and in the house, and we're going through closets and file cabinets and so on, and I'm finding schematics and stuff I worked on, pieces of equipment clear back in the 60s, and I did a lot of work at airports. Yeah. Time out.
Okay, Herb, what are some of the highlights of ham radio over the years for you?
Well, as I said, we started out about in 59, somewhere in there, and the real challenge of amateur radio was rebuilding surplus Army equipment. And at that time, there was a lot of equipment available from both World War II and the Korean War. And we could buy some very good receivers, and we could convert them to basically the frequency is already there. Most of it was converting them to the power supply that would make them work. And so I had a station that was pretty much all surplus. In fact, for many years I never bought a piece of commercial equipment, and the first piece of commercial equipment I ever bought was a 2-meter rig, a KDK something, I think is the manufacturer of it, but that was the first piece of commercial equipment I ever bought. Otherwise, all the rest of it was home brew. And I was even in the airplane. We'd take an old Arc 5, tuned between 200 and 400, something like that, 200, 600, and it covered the low frequency H marker band. So I'd have that running in the airplane, and I used it for navigation at times. So, but we had to carry a 12-volt battery with that, and that was a little inconvenient. I don't know what you call highlights. A lot of the real highlights was talking to a long distance on 80 meters, like one spring, winter, or fall day or evening, early in the morning. I used to get up and get on the air, and I talked to Australia one morning on 80 meters, and I thought, boy, that was a real thrill. Other than
how about Black Sunday? Was you involved with that at all?
Yeah, we actually, I was working for the power company. I went to work for them first, and I got relieved of duty about midnight, and I joined the fellas, and we went over to I think Alden or one of the towns over there, and had set up communications, but we didn't stay there very long. But I was involved in it.
This was the tornadoes that came through Albert Lea, Freeborn County in 1967, was it?
That's about the period of time, yeah. And when working for the power company, I was worked in the office, and we manned a switchboard. And I don't remember how many lines we had coming into that station, but they all lit up, and they just stayed lit up. And we tried to answer, tell the people, tell them we're out of electricity. We're out of electricity. Well, we already, the whole town is out of electricity. But the guys, I worked. I guess I got off work about 4 in the morning and went back to work about 8 in the morning. Same thing. The board was still switched, and the linemen have been out all night, and they're gonna. I'll tell you, those guys better earn their money when you get in storm situations like that. And yes, I remember that quite vaguely and quite vividly, I should say.
And you did a lot with the bike-a-thon over the years, too, in Freeborn County. Cancer bike-a-thon.
I've been involved in the bike-a-thon for 39 years. And we first started out, I always was in communications with it, and always enjoyed the communications. And we had a base station set up, the NCS station set up, and we had about 10 or 12 mobiles, and we assigned them to different positions along the route. And they patrolled the highway along with we worked with the sheriff's department, and basically we were patrolling the highway as not deputized or anything, but we provided safety for the bike riders. Here is a board. I forgot it represents 25 years of bike-a-thon. I was chairman. I got to be chairman about the 8th year or something like that, and I was chairman for many years by myself, and then Don Nolander and I took co-chairman, and we went up to about 30 years, something like that. That's when we quit, and now they took some other. Let's see, Mark Herride took over.
Yep.
And he worked with it, and
we had a lot of fun over the years there.
yeah. Well, we had some good parties afterward. That was where the fun was.
Okay. Do you have any other hobbies, Herb, before we quit the interview here? Anything else you like to do?
I do. Flying is the other hobby. I'm not real active in it now because of my health. I don't have a medical. But I used to have an airplane. I've flown to Mexico City on Miller Fellow Inesola and myself. Flew to Mexico City and back again in a Piper PA-12 Super Cruiser. That was a real highlight. We've taken on several long trips in airplanes, and if it wasn't for my health, I'd still be flying. But I guess I could get a sportsman's license. If you can drive a car out there, they'll let you fly.
All right, Herb. Well, thanks a lot for the interview today. We're running short on time here, so any last comments or anything?
No, gosh, guys, I wish my shack was a little better. Looked a little better. We've got a lot of spare parts here that we might be willing to part with, things like that. But no, it's been very interesting, Larry. And amateur radio is a good hobby, and it's rather a shame it isn't quite as active as it used to be, but it's still a good hobby.
Okay, thanks a lot for the interview there, Herb. Appreciate it. That's Herb Neal, KØHN in Albert Lea, Minnesota.
Okay, I'm back again. This is the south view, actually looking north from our home down here on Gray Street. And Larry is showing you a picture of the tower. Now, the very high antenna is a 2-meter homebrew antenna. The wire, of course, I use it for a guy, and also it's an 80-meter antenna. The next one is, a 144, was it 240? UHF antenna. And the bottom one was a scanner one, and it was put up in cold weather, so you can see it was hurriedly done. The middle one looks more professional. But I am going to, if whoever buys the house doesn't want the tower, I'm going to have to get rid of it. It is 50 foot. It's a steel tower, all galvanized, and it's actually stronger than a lot of towers you buy nowadays. But I've had it for a number of years, and it served me well, and I hope somebody can use it in the future. And like I guess I did tell you about the 2-meter amplifier, or not 2-meter amplifier, but the 80-meter homebrew amplifier in the basement. It'll poke any hole that you want to poke into the band.
Okay.